People said, what was the biggest thing that you remember about Chuck? Chuck was just smart. He was brilliant. He was great at electronics, knew how stuff worked. He had a film lab. He could tell you anything you wanted to know about film and Kodachrome, but also computers, how they worked. Tiny Basic, remember Cobalt and all the old programming, but even the new programming, kept up with all of that, knew exactly what code was, how it worked. Chuck was a pilot. Chuck worked in the cruise ship industry. It wasn't a whole lot that Chuck didn't do, but Chuck certainly lived a lot of life, and because of that, I think made him the host that he became. With those experiences, and it really not until you hit your 40s, in my opinion, 40s and 50s, etc., you got to live a little bit to be able to give a little bit more, because you got to go through it yourself, and it just makes it so much easier to gain that experience. And Chuck was very, very well read. Before the internet became as good as it is now with Google and all that stuff, you had to read books. You had to, when he said comb the papers, it wasn't on the internet. Comb the papers was literally opening up the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, reading the articles out of Newsweek, Vanity Fair, wherever you got your news from. And again, the Associated Press, you'd get The Wire from the AP, but it wasn't just reading the news, though. It was being able to connect the dots. And giving you the factual information with background, knowing who these individuals were and calling them out. And, those particular things really hurt Chuck in that way, because Washington, they listened to Chuck at the White House. Trump had Fox News. Well, he still does. He was on Fox News channel, yesterday at 8 o'clock? Yeah, from the White House. And he's something that he did for many years before he ended up in the White House. But the power of the media got to the Clintons with Chuck, because there was nobody really like Chuck. Yeah, there was Rush, but right next to Rush was Chuck. And Chuck and Rush, though conservative, Chuck was much more the conservative. But he wasn't a mouthpiece. So you couldn't argue that he was a mouthpiece for the Republicans. He was critical of the Clintons and the Bushes. So you couldn't really nail him down, and that really has aggravated a lot of his contemporaries through the years. I mean, populist, yes, but to iron him down and say, well, Chuck can't make up his mind whether he's Republican or he's a Democrat, depending on the issue, depending on what it was. Chuck he wanted things to be right. And it wasn't just a party line. And so the For the People brand, before Morgan & Morgan, the attorneys got it, Chuck trademarked it. And for whatever reason, I haven't researched, but I don't know if the trademark expired, but Chuck owned that for many, many years. And it got handed to Morgan & Morgan. We own the radio For the People show and all that stuff. But For the People is trademarked to Morgan & Morgan now. And again, we're going to have to research to find out when that expired, but unfortunately it did. It may have lapsed during the UAW debacle and all that other stuff. But anyway, this book is going to cover a lot of this stuff. It's not going to be all technical. It's not going to be a read to where it's, oh my gosh, this is so boring, or stuff I already know. Some stuff you might say, I know that stuff. This is For the People. I am Keith Allen, and if you're a new listener to my broadcast, I've been doing For the People, this radio show, officially for 4 years now. 4 years. And me and Chuck started in 2015, and some of you were right there when we did release in Talkers Magazine and All Access, and you can see those articles online. Just type in All Access or whatever, Chuck Harder, and then it came on. And so people were really excited about it, but quickly Chuck's health and his heart, just went into AFib, and he had some heart attacks and some strokes, and one thing after another. And I got a call from Chuck, and this was in 2015, and I was doing my voiceover stuff and minding my own business, I like to say. And Chuck said, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing fine. He said, you enjoying yourself? And I said, yeah. And he said, business good? Yeah. I said, Chuck, are you doing radio? And we were in contact here and there, but not every week. Every couple months or something like that. And I said, Chuck, you should go back on the radio. And he goes, with who? And I just kind of like jokingly said, with me. He says, that's a great idea. Now, I've done stuff for other radio networks. After Chuck, I went with Salem Communications, with Clear Channel Communications, which is now iHeartMedia. But I decided to help Chuck get onto Live 365, which is back on. They went off, and now they're back on. Some people think it was ironic that they went out of business, but they got into some copyright issues, but I think they figured out a way on how to protect themselves. But we found a way around all that and ended up on Spreaker and then on radio stations across the country that are tuned in right now, listening and carrying this broadcast as we speak. Anyway, people didn't forget Chuck. We heard from hundreds of people across the country, thousands eventually, caught up and still spreading the word and still sharing with friends that Chuck passed away on April 10th. And we're doing a tribute to Chuck with a book and a DVD, Talk Radio at the Telford, The Untold Story of Chuck Harder, the Clintons, the UAW, and the IRS. $15,000 is what we need to raise to do both. And the next segment coming up, we're going to read some excerpt, from what we started, just to kind of give you some flavor. It's in its infancy, but over the summer, most of the writing will be done. I gotta hunker down, research, and some of you are going to be able to submit some videos. That's going to be very exciting. We'll let you know on Facebook at For the People Show. It's got to be halfway decent quality, from a cell phone. You can email the .mov file. But some of you, big supporters, or ways that you saved money, or how you changed your political affiliation or your thinking, whatever it was that you could share that bit, that will be included. Yeah, from all over the country, and that's what we want. We want all over the country. People that knew Chuck back then, you'll be on that DVD. It'll be very, very special. Okay, so an opportunities for a lot of you that want to be. If you don't, that's fine. Just let us know. Not everybody, has to be on the camera and do that. But that taping can be done. Now, some of you, when we're doing some taping at the Telford Hotel, we'll invite you. You can come on down if you'd like. When we're doing some of the taping at the Telford Hotel, we're going to open it up, and it's going to be fun. But we'll let you know all those details when that comes up as well. But we're raising money today for Chuck Harder, his legacy. And we'd love for you to donate now at forthepeopleshow.com. If you've not been to our website, that's our official website, forthepeopleshow.com. Look for the donate button and give. What a great way to honor a man who really changed the landscape on talk radio and, I believe, the political system in many ways.
Help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people, for the people, for the people, for the people is there.
It's unlike anything you've ever been through in your life, man. I was driving. This kid threw a grenade at us. It went right over our vehicle. It was 12 years old.
The shockwave went through my head, rattled up my brain, and left.
Danger is around you 360 degrees at all times, and you can't unlearn that.
It's impossible to describe the sacrifices these men and women have made to protect our freedoms. And the job of rebuilding their lives is massive and growing every day. Many will need the programs offered by the Wounded Warrior Project for years to come.
I didn't know what PTSD was. All I knew was I was having nightmares. And when I got released, my reintegration was go check in at the VA, man.
My first coping mechanism was use drugs. Just numb it, don't feel anything.
I was angry. I'm trying to pull myself out of that right now.
Your gift today of $19 per month will honor and empower these veterans so they can aid and assist each other.
The Wounded Warrior Project is a life raft.
I can say this without question that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for it.
Wounded Warrior Project is the first step, getting back out into the world and reforming yourself outside of the service.
Call or go online with a pledge of $19 a month. You'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket, and your gift will provide critically needed programs that rebuild lives.
That was my first feeling of actually being a part of something bigger than myself again.
Well, I lost a few really close friends overseas, and if I quit, I'm going to let them down, and I'm not about to do that.
I'm learning to face my fears head on. To trust and see what happens at the end.
It's a long process, but I had the drive and desire.
Please call or go online with your gift right now.
Introducing the official For the People coffee mug featuring the colorful red, white, and blue For the People logo with Keith Allen on a ceramic 11-ounce coffee mug, perfect for any hot beverage of your choice. This mug is a great reminder of what we stand for: God, country, and family, with conservative values and good old-fashioned common sense. To order your For the People coffee mug, pay just $20 plus $3.99 shipping and handling at forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. And enjoy.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.com. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll get a vacation voucher and maximum tax deduction.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
And we're back. Keith Allen and For the People. We'd like you to be included on today's broadcast, and how you can do that is make a donation today at forthepeopleshow.com. Some of you are listening live. Some of you are listening to the For the People broadcast at another time, at another time zone. But do me a favor, please do make a donation, because this will, in fact, give us the gasoline that we need to be able to accomplish this project. There's a lot of research, a lot of people that are going to be involved, and a lot of hours to make this a reality. That you don't just throw a book together, and we're not going to do that. And some people do, but it can't be that kind of book. And we're going to really give you something to look forward to. But we do need your help to make this a real possibility and a reality, and I'm going to see this through. I'm going to make it happen. So I'm just asking for a little help from our friends across the country that believed in what Chuck did, and still believe in what I'm doing and furthering his legacy, and believe that Chuck's legacy certainly needs to be told in some meaningful ways. Talk Radio at the Telford is a title that I came up with. My fondest memories, and one of them was when I was working for Bott Radio Network, and they're a Christian broadcaster. I was doing a talk show, 2-3 hour show in Memphis on WCRV, and my dad was working for Capital Cities and ABC in New York City, and I was invited to come down to the Telford Hotel back in 1995, circa 1995. I was just 25 years old. And without reservation, I always thought it would be great to reunite with my dad after many years after WMCA in New York, to work with my dad as a production director, and the possibility of doing some talk radio. And a couple months after the offer, we went packing and headed to White Springs, Florida in my car. What did I have, a Dodge Neon back then? Yeah, it was my red 2-door coupe. I had the Sport Edition, and I thought I had it all hooked up. I had the sunroof and all that. You don't see many neons, the Dodge Neons, on the road, but for its time, I thought they were kind of cool. Anyway, remember pulling in to the Telford Hotel, sandy driveway, and this big building. If you've never seen the Telford Hotel, it is a magnificent hotel. It was built in the late 1800s or early 1800s. It was a while ago. 3 or 4 presidents, William Taft,